Whether you're enjoying HolidayThon 2018 with snow on the ground or palm trees touching the sky, we here at ResortLoop.com and our wonderful friends at Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company want to wish you and yours a very happy holiday season.
Hello, this is Florence Porter, and I am calling to wish Bob and Tim and all of Looper Nation Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and any other celebration I've missed. And Happy New Year!
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar. You're a little excited there, Tim.
That's because we're kicking off HolidayThon 2018.
Are we sure?
We're always fresh right out of the gate.
We may fold in the middle of this one. I don't know. This is a long HolidayThon, but it's always exciting because to kick off our HolidayThon, we have our favorite guest on always. Tim, go ahead and introduce our guest.
Joining us again, I think this is like the third year in a row, Mr. Len Testa. You know him from the Touring Plans and the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, did I say Disneyland? All the Disney things. Mr. Len Testa, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Bob and Tim. I have to admit, I'm a little embarrassed. When you guys told me it was a special show for December, I heard HolidayThon. and that explains the strange looks that I got when I went out to check the mail right before the show. All right. Okay.
That's why we're not usually video, but we will be today.
Right. It's okay. I mean, you're allowed to wear flip-flops. Those are the thongs you're talking about, right? The flip-flops.
Sure. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
Exactly it. My holiday Crocs, as it were. Yes. Sure.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, listen, everybody, HolidayThon is, you guys all know what HolidayThon is all about. But, as always, we love to have Len on because he's got great information about everything. But this year, we have got to talk about the last-minute gift ideas for you guys to give your Disney family, your Disney friends, your Disney spouses, for Christmas, and there's no better gift. I'm telling you right now, I'm holding it right in my hand. There's no better gift than the Unofficial Guide and Touring Plans from Len. So I'm holding the Unofficial Guide 2018 version. The 2019 out already?
Not only is it out, we've reprinted it 4 times with updates.
Wow.
since August. Yes, 4 times in 2018 we've reprinted it already.
Wow. I'll have to grab that. Okay, this thing it's a light read. I mean, it's only 846 pages. So what I thought we could do is I'm going to read each individual page, and you can comment.
You're going to start a sentence on each page, and I'm going to finish it.
There you go.
In the
Actually,
beginning.
on page 436, you said, no, I'm sorry. That's what you did. But we also, and actually, we just re-upped our touring plans. Tim just did his. And you added another one, Tim, didn't you?
I added the Disney Cruise Line, which I'm really excited to dig into.
Oh, nice. Are you doing a Disney cruise next year?
We're doing one in March. We're doing the Eastern Caribbean. First time doing Eastern for us.
Oh, my favorite on the fantasy. Yeah, it's a really good itinerary.
So I got to ask, what? I mean, I understand the Walt Disney World touring plan. Explain the cruise line touring plan. What's that get you?
For the touring plans for the cruise line, we focus on what there is to do on each ship, and then for each port of call, we explain what you can expect to see there, what the sort of shore excursions are, and then for certain ones, for certain shore excursions, we also have walking tours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So on the Eastern Caribbean, we go over not only Castaway Cay, but for every port that you visit, we would cover that, provide hints on where to go and what to do, things like that.
Well, that's fantastic. That will come in very handy, Tim.
I'm looking at it right now. It's a huge list. Like I just went right out of the gate to the Iceland, Curia Iceland. It's like a page of different things, walks you can do. Something called Jewels of the North. I love this.
Oh yeah. Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, we for each of those walking tours, we actually did it ourselves. So I've done like Oslo, Barcelona, Nassau, which I wouldn't recommend anymore because of the safety warnings. But yeah, we've gone through and we've done all of those. Also, we review all of the restaurants. One of my favorite tips in the book is the spa passes that you can get on DCL. So have you been on have you been on the Fantasy before?
I've been on the Fantasy, but we've never done anything with the spas.
Okay, so there's a rainforest spa pass that you can get. It's limited to 20 people per cruise.
Oh, wow.
And you get the run of the saunas and the heated stone lounge chairs that overlook the ocean on it. So I think it runs about $13 per person per day. But the single best thing you can buy on the cruise ship is this rainforest spa pass. So get 2 for you and your loved one. Leave the kids somewhere else and go do that. No, it's fantastic. So there's 3 different showers in the spa with different water temperatures and spray settings. Like one is northern mist, and it's relatively cool mist. And then there's like tropical thunder, and it's warm rain that kind of beats down on you from above. There are scents in each of the showers, and then there are 3 saunas in the rainforest spa as well. So there's a dry one, mildly humid, and then like super humid one. So the idea is that you pop into one of the saunas, then you run into a shower, then you run into another sauna, then you run into another shower. Then when you're tired of running around and saunaing, you go lay on one of the stone lounge chairs, which are contoured to fit your body perfectly. And you look out over the ocean and fall asleep.
I was going to say, I see a nap.
Perfect day. Yeah, exactly. Perfect day at the spa. It's fantastic.
Wow. That's unlimited for the cruise then? That's unlimited then for the cruise?
So you can go as many times as you want for a 7-day pass. They also have like single day passes.
Okay.
But at $13 a day or $14 a day, whatever it is, it's relatively expensive. Just do it for the entire cruise.
Yeah.
And if are you doing early dining or late dining?
Late.
Oh, perfect. So go early. So go like around 5 o'clock when everyone's getting ready for dinner. There will be no one in the spa. You'll basically have it to yourselves, and then come back around 7, get ready for dinner, and go.
I have written that down, and now I'm circling it.
You've been to Castaway Cay before, right?
Oh yeah, love Castaway Cay.
Okay.
Love it.
All right, fair enough. Best island in the Caribbean.
This is what I wanted to get to as well. Is you guys have now tied for a while now anyway the unofficial guide and touring plans together. So these two really go in well in conjunction with one another.
We do. The thing that we like to say is there's some advice that you can put in a book, and it's good for the length of the book. So unless Disney does something radically different with the rainforest spa passes, that's going to be good throughout 2019. But there's other things where the data changes so fast or the terms change so fast that putting in a book doesn't make sense. And a great example of this, if we're talking about Walt Disney World, is the new ticket system that came out. Yeah. Once Disney changed that, all of the advice that we had in the book became different overnight, right? Mm-hmm. And so for that, because the prices change so often, it makes more sense to use an online tool to convey that information rather than a printed book. And that's where touring plans comes in handy. So things that you can't do in a book are really good for online tools.
Exactly. Here's something that I really was not shocked by, because I know your due diligence in all the work that you do. I mean, there's so many books out there, folks. You obviously you go to wherever, Barnes and Noble or whatever your nearest bookstore is, local bookstore, and you go, wow, there's just so many Walt Disney World books. This is one of the things that I just find fantastic about the unofficial guide and why I get it. Is you've got over 38 people working on this book. Okay, yep. A lot of people have a lot of people working on books. This is the one that if anybody has kids out there and is like, okay, which book do I get? you actually have a child psychologist on staff for the book.
Oh, sure.
Sure, why not?
Why not?
Why wouldn't you? No, but you're right. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's fantastic. So everything in here, when you're talking about one of my the sections that I like is Disney, kids, and scary stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so you actually have a child psychologist that says, here's what you want to do with your kids in these situations.
There's great advice in there too about how to prepare your kids to meet characters for the first time, because as a parent you think, my child's going to meet a princess or Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse or Beauty and the Beast or whatever, and it's going to be fantastic. And sometimes what we forget is kids are small, characters are large, and that sometimes they're visually intimidating. So we have advice in the book about how to sort of prepare your kids for meeting a character up close the first time. And I'll tell you why it became more important. Have I told you about the work we did with Elon University?
No.
So we collect a lot of data about Walt Disney World, and because we collect a lot of data, colleges and universities contact us all the time to ask about the data, to use the data, or to work together on projects. So a couple of years ago, we were contacted by Elon University, and Elon is teaching this class, not making it up. It's called The Psychology of Happiness at Disney World.
Oh.
And so psychology students take the class. They actually go to Walt Disney World for 3 weeks in the spring. They're teaching the class again starting in January. And each student has a project, a research topic that they're going to investigate while they're there. So I go in and I visit Elon University, and I talk about how we collect the data, the kinds of data that we collect, the kinds of questions that we're interested in, and so on. So back in 2016, one of the students' research questions was this: do boys and girls who meet the Disney princesses enjoy meeting the princesses equally? Like, is there a gender gap in meeting the princesses? So we did the research, and it turns out there is no gender gap. Boys and girls enjoy meeting the Disney princesses equally. But the more interesting thing we found was this: if you took the Magic Kingdom attractions and you rated them from 1 to 97, because there's 97 things to do, and you asked kids, what would you put number 1 through 97? For preschool and grade school kids, 19 of the top 20 things are parades, fireworks, and meeting characters. There's only one ride in the top 20, which tells you what kids' priorities are. It's meeting characters, seeing fireworks, and seeing parades. That was amazing to us. We completely redid all of our advice in the book based on that.
Yeah,
fascinating. So like every variation of parade, I don't care if it's the afternoon parade, the Halloween parade, the Christmas parade, the Easter parade, whatever, parades top of the list. Character greetings, every possible character greeting you can think of. Obviously, meeting Mickey Mouse is literally the number one thing for kids to do. But every variation of princesses, every variation of Goofy and Donald and Minnie and Pluto, those are up there. And then every possible permutation of the fireworks is up there. The only ride that appears in the top 20. You guys want to take a guess?
Tomorrowland Speedway.
Pretty close. Go ahead. Tim?
Peter Pan.
Mad Tea Party.
Oh, really?
It
was right between the two we picked. Physically.
Exactly. Geographically, you guys are spot on average. Yeah. But that was it. And actually, that doesn't really. You only start seeing rides creep into the top 20 once kids become teenagers, and then you start seeing Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Pirates of the Caribbean, things like that. But even then, meeting characters is still super, super important.
That is really amazing.
Oh yeah. And so we visit universities and colleges all the time. We talk about the data, about the research projects, and the partnerships that we have with universities around the country is just fantastic. And then it goes into the book, the stuff that we do.
That is something else. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks.
That is so cool. Okay, I am going to go. There are some pages. I dog-eared some pages here. This is. I love this part of the book as well. It's on this one. It's in part 1, planning before you go. Mm-hmm. You guys have an entire timeline. So everybody's always like, hey, I mean, it takes a lot of planning to go to Walt Disney World. Mm-hmm. You guys break it down. What you should do between the 12th and 9th month, the 9th and 7th month, all the way down. You break it down. You keep breaking it down until you're the day before.
Right.
You start getting into days.
Read the introduction to that, because I think it actually happened to be the inspiration for the section. Like, we've all been there, right? I think is the way it starts.
Oh yeah. Let me see if I can get to the front of that. Let's see. Oh yeah. As you go through this book, you'll see many references to planning your milestones. You can start by making Disney. Oh no, I'm on the wrong place. Yeah. Anyway, see,
I think it starts with it's 1 minute you're in the Taco Bell drive-through, the next you're driving down I-95. We've all been there.
That's true.
It actually happened. It actually happened to me when there was one winter break. My daughter and I were hanging out, and we were actually in the Taco Bell drive-through, and I was off for I had a bunch of vacation time occurred, so I was going to be off for 10 days straight. And we're in the Taco Bell drive-through, and we're listening to the radio, and somebody mentioned something about Disney. She's like, "We should totally go to Disney World right now." And I was like, "Nah, you can't go to Disney World." And then I thought, why can't we go to Disney World right now? So went home, made hotel reservations, got in the car, and drove to Disney World. And at the time I was trying to think to myself, what do I need to do? Between now and the time that we arrive in 10.5 hours, who can I call to start making ADR reservations for me, right. Or checking into the hotel, make sure credit cards and what do I need to do? And then I was like, I need a checklist, and that's what became the basis for that checklist in the book. In fact, I think I actually say in the checklist, or we actually say in the checklist, even if you're visiting in 2 weeks, you can still do all of these things in the same order. You're just going to do them all at once, rather than do one thing 1 month, another thing the next month.
Yeah, I mean it's fantastic, because it gives you so much information on, and I think it takes a lot of the pressure off. If you follow most of this stuff, it's going to take a lot of your pressure off.
Oh yeah, we've recently been surveying travel agents about the things that their clients say surprised them the most about visiting Walt Disney World. And by far, the number one thing that travel agents say that their clients express surprise about is how much planning, preparation, and scheduling you've got to do to have a successful vacation. Right. I think it amazes a lot of people when you tell them, if you don't make a reservation for restaurants in the Magic Kingdom, literally 180 days before you visit, the chances are you won't get what you want. Because it's not true. No one thinks of that for Las Vegas.
Right.
No.
Right?
Nowhere.
Right? No. Right. New York isn't like that. Washington, D.C. isn't like that. No other place in the country is like it. It's super competitive. And then a lot of people express surprise that you have to make FastPass reservations for rides, because why would you need to make a reservation for a ride? Is it even possible to do it? But that's the sort of thing that the book helps out with.
Absolutely. And more importantly, maybe even than that, can I afford to go? You guys address, can I even afford to do that? Most people are like, I can't afford to go to Disney World. But I love it, because you guys break it down. You really do. 2 adults and 1 kid for around $1,000.
This was the we actually had this idea.
Down?
Yeah, so we had this idea one time when we were a reader emailed us and said, I'm trying to figure out what kind of vacation I can have, and I think the limit was $1,500. And so I'm trying to plan a vacation. I've got $1,500. This is also confusing. Please help. And we don't normally talk on the phone with readers, because there's hundreds of thousands of them, and there's 3 of us writing the book or whatever. But in this particular case, it was an interesting question. So we got on the phone, and when we started going through the options, we realized that for every combination of thing we wanted to talk about, how many days you're going to stay, what kind of hotel you're going to stay at, and so on, we started building a spreadsheet. And pretty soon we realized that the spreadsheet we had built, if you plug in different numbers instead of $1,500, you could plug in $1,000. Instead of two adults and one kid, you could plug in 2 adults and 2 kids. And the spreadsheet would basically tell you how much Disney you could buy for that amount of money, like how many nights you could stay at the hotel, how many days of theme park passes you could have, what kind of restaurants you would eat at. It would factor in parking. So that became the spreadsheet. That became the charts that are in the book now. So now the book has this chart that says for any family size, I think from 2 adults, no kids, to 2 adults and 3 kids, and from prices of like $1,000 to $3,000, exactly how much Disney you could get if you stayed offsite at a value resort, a moderate resort, and a deluxe resort.
Right.
Wow.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. Tim will back me up on this.
I will.
I'm a. He doesn't even know what
No, I don't know.
Whatever it is, it's true.
I am like a superhero at work because you always get and everybody got to get this book. I'm telling you, because when you go to work and somebody says, "Oh, you're going to Disney World again," you get that eye roll and everything.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to Disney World. Why not? And they go, "Well, I can't afford that." Hold up.
Yeah.
Just grab the book.
Talk about that
Go
for
to
a second.
that section. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I know we all like to complain about Disney prices and stuff, but it's if you're going to almost any other destination, and you plan on entertaining yourself every day, you're not just going to sit in a hotel room or on a beach or something, that the prices will probably be comparable. Not exactly the same. Disney is more expensive, but it's not as outrageous as you would think.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think of the new ticket system?
Oh,
okay.
I'm still reeling from the I'm still reeling
That's why we're pushing your book and touring plans, because it has gotten to be so complex. If you don't have this book, I don't know how you're going to do it. It is so complex.
When the new ticket system came out, we've got a website feature called the least expensive ticket calculator, and the job of the ticket calculator is this: you tell it what you want to do in Walt Disney World, and it tells you the least expensive combination of tickets to buy that does what you want to do.
Right.
And in the old days, it's a complicated computer program. Like literally the reason why we wrote the computer program was because Bob Selinger, the author of the book, once asked me, "Len, can you come up with 3 or 4 tips, 3 or 4 bullet points that explain to people how to save money on tickets?" And it took me a week. And at the end of the week, I realized I can't write 3 or 4 bullet points
Right.
because the rules are just so complicated. Right. So we wrote a computer program, but we spent almost the last month updating the ticket calculator to understand the new rules about the ticketing system. And we came up with, I think, 7 or 8 tips for how to save like the maximum amount of money. Basically, we wrote the computer program to find a possible loophole you could in the new ticket system and then take advantage of them. So you guys are familiar with these now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You're familiar with all of the different tips and tricks?
No, not all of them. A few
right,
of them.
So the obvious one, right? Buy before you get to the Disney gate, right? Because Disney has that $20 surcharge, right?
Right.
Are you familiar with? And I think people who've been to Walt Disney World before, who've priced things out, know that if you're visiting just one water park and you're not going to park hop, it's cheaper to buy a separate water park ticket than to buy the Park Hop Plus option.
I have heard
right?
that. I have heard that.
Okay. Have you seen the one about picking a start date 2 days before your arrival date?
Oh, tell us about this one.
Yeah.
So if you're visiting, let's say you're going in a long weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? And you're buying airline tickets, so you're definitely flying in Thursday, you're definitely leaving Sunday, right? If you're visiting during a period that's getting busier as the week goes on, right? So let's say Christmas is over a weekend, during the year, or you're going into like President's Day or spring break or whatever. If you're buying a 4-day pass to visit a park every day, right? You actually have 7 days to use, 7 calendar days to use those 4 park days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So if normally most people would buy their tickets to start on the Thursday, and they would use the ticket Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Why pay for a day you won't use?
Yeah, exactly. Because you're flying in, you're flying out. That's the logical thing to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's actually cheaper by a few dollars per person per day to say that the ticket is going to start on a Tuesday because remember how Disney's pricing the dates out. It's cheaper to buy it on a Tuesday by a few dollars, but not actually start using it till the Thursday. And no matter what, it's good for 7 days, so it's good until the following Monday. But you're leaving on Sunday anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That is brilliant.
And the ticket calculator figures that out.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah. So it took a lot of programming. So right now in the ticket calculator, I think Disney said this when they introduced the new ticket system. There are 10,000 different combinations of prices. So with all the different vendors and options we have, we now store over 200,000 individual tickets in the database, and the calculator basically looks for loopholes on all of them. I'll give you another example, right? And it's similar to this. If you're only going to visit a water park once, it's cheaper sometimes to say that you're going to visit the water park on the first or the last day, depending on whether you're going into or coming out of a busy season. Okay. So again, it's a couple more dollars per person per day you can save by doing that.
Wow.
There's a loophole with the flexible dates option. So now the tickets are good only for a certain number of days, right? So 4-day ticket is good for 7 days. A 5-day ticket I think is good for 9, and so on. But what if you need like one extra day? Like I'm going to visit the 4 parks, but it's going to be over 8 days because I've been doing a cruise in the middle or something like that. It's actually Disney would have you buy this thing called a flexible dates option, which would give you 14 days to use a ticket, but that's expensive. It's actually sometimes cheaper to buy the Park Hop Plus option, which gets you park hopping and the water park feature, but also gives you one extra day on the tickets.
Okay.
Really
interesting.
Yeah. So there are 8 of these steps. I won't go through all of them here, but we had to program them all into the ticket calculator to do it. Like sometimes it's cheaper to buy like an 8-day ticket instead of a 6-day ticket if you need the extra days rather than buying the flexible dates option. There's all kinds of stuff that we did, but we actually wrote a computer program to figure all this out for you. But I think you can still save a decent amount of money per person, like easily $100 per family using the ticket calculator, and it's free. You don't even have to subscribe; just go use it. We make it available as part of the public good for the Disney community.
Oh, that is fantastic.
It's insane. We spent a month on it. So my developer David was worked on it with me for the better part of a month. We went back and forth on it. It's crazy.
Now, will it also tell you when it makes sense to go for the annual pass?
It does, actually. It does. Yeah. So it'll tell you when you get an annual pass. Yeah. So, I mean, the big benefit is like the hotel discounts, the food and merch discounts, the memory maker, and the theme park parking. Yeah.
So this is why we have you on the show. Right. I mean, come on, this book. I'm trying to find the price. It's $22.
Yeah,
$22.
I think it's like $13 or $14 on Amazon if you get the Kindle version. Yeah, it's dirt cheap. On a per pound basis, it's cheaper than steak.
Right.
It is a heavy book, I got to tell you. But I mean, come on, the amount of money that you could potentially save if you just pay attention and follow the things that you guys got going on. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, a lot of people put a lot of work into it. Yeah.
I also love this part of the book, the resort room diagrams. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, have you guys seen the new rooms at All Star Movies?
At the movies?
The upgraded ones?
Yeah, the refurbished rooms. Have you seen them?
They're not like Pop. The new ones in Pop?
They're very almost identical to Pop. But okay. What'd you think of them?
Tim's not a fan. He needs carpet.
I'm a fan of carpet. I am. After like walking on my feet all day long, and I even said this a few months ago when Bob and I were there. It's just nice to kick off your feet and have carpet on the floor.
The one time that I miss the carpet is this, and Disney's floors when I stayed in there were immaculately clean. But sometimes when you're walking on hardwood floors, and if there's a speck of dust, it will stick to your feet.
Yes. On
hardwood floors, and it won't uncover. That bugs the heck out of me when I get into bed and I know that there might be dirt on my feet. So what I ended up doing when I was staying at movies was I just took a hand towel and used it as a carpet square right before I went to bed and wiped my feet off and got into bed. I would like to see that, but next to the beds. But other than that, I thought it was really interesting. Did you notice, by the way, that there are 10 USB chargers in the rooms now?
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
Everybody gets 3 devices. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it's a reasonably good room. I think we got it at a super discount. I think there was a Priceline discount available We got it for like $79 a night or something. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so because we've been following you very closely. It's kind of bordering stalking, but we've been following you on Twitter and the whole Priceline thing.
Oh yeah. So this was one of the people in our liners community, a guy named John, has done just fantastic work about digging into the Priceline deals here. So these are Priceline Express deals where Priceline doesn't tell you the name of the hotel until you buy it.
Right.
But John's been doing basically Columbo-style detective work to figure out, based on the description that Priceline gives you of the hotel, exactly what hotel it is. And so we can narrow it down with a reasonably good chance of accuracy that it's Disney's All-Star Resorts, or I think Animal Kingdom Lodge is like $180 a night. We've seen some poly deals in the low 200s. Just some really, really good deals in the fall through Priceline. And so John's writing a regular blog post now on blog.touringplans.com, where he'll tell you every couple of weeks what the latest deals are and how to find them on Priceline.
Oh, great!
That's a winner.
That is fantastic. Yeah, I remember the one that I saw that sticks in my mind is the description was something like a jazzy, New Orleans style life or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What could that be? I don't know. Yeah. The funny thing is like to verify these deals, sometimes we'll actually go and book a room. And if I'm not actually in Florida to book a room, it's like, oh, that's a wasted room. I would love to be able to give these away to people, but once you've got your name on it, you can't.
Right.
But but we do actually book the rooms to make sure that the deals work. So
that is fantastic. Yeah, that whole Priceline thing, that's it's a little scary for people at first, but give that a shot. That's on your touring plans website?
Blog, yes, it's blog.touringplans.com. Just go there and search for Priceline, and it should come up.
All right.
There's a browser plugin for the Chrome browser called Hotel Canary that helps when you're looking at this. You can sort of narrow down. It'll give you hints about what you're looking at. But yeah, sometimes fantastic deals.
Well, that's another great tip. Hotel Canary, what?
Hotel Canary, exactly. Now, the one interesting thing we've heard about this is that when we first blogged about this, apparently so many people got in on the Animal Kingdom Lodge deal that we got an email from at least one reader who said they actually turned me away at from the hotel. So they got the day that they were supposed to check in, they got a note from Priceline saying that Animal Kingdom Lodge had canceled their reservation because they were overbooked, and Priceline offered to send them somewhere else, but they didn't want to do it, so they ended up staying somewhere else on property. But it's only happened once.
Yeah.
As I was reading the email, the Seinfeld skit about car reservations.
Yes.
Came to mind.
Right. Yeah. You can take the reservation.
Anybody can just take.
You just can't keep there.
It's the
I don't think you know how reservations work. I don't think you do.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Anyway.
And then on part 6 of the book, special tips for special people. You cover just about everything. Singles, people with bad attitudes. I love that one. The couples, wedding, people getting married, romantic getaways. I mean, you cover it all. Expectant mothers.
Yep.
How do you research that?
So we have hundreds of thousands of readers, so it's pretty easy to find a representative sample of expectant mothers. They come in with good tips all the time.
Yeah, and that's a big key to this book. It's not just the research that you're doing. You're getting a lot of input from your readers, right?
Oh yeah. So we send out surveys to everyone who plans a trip on the website, and then also there's a link to a survey in the back of every book. So every year we get back hundreds of thousands of surveys. So I think in the last year we've gotten more than 500,000 attraction surveys. We've got more than 140,000 restaurant surveys in the last year. So to put that in perspective, it's more surveys than TripAdvisor and Yelp have for Walt Disney World combined over their entire lifetimes.
Oh, wow.
We typically get that in a year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're able to tell when things change at a restaurant very, very quickly. It's funny. I was having a conversation a couple months ago with a chef who had moved locations in Walt Disney World, and we were able to pinpoint when they moved and where they moved to within a couple of days of it happening because the survey results changed.
Really?
You left here like about then, and you came to this other place. Yeah, surveys changed. Yeah, we knew it. Yeah, she's a very good chef, so we knew instantly when things jumped around. Yeah, so
always a good idea to follow you on touring plans to make sure you know where those good places to eat are, because there have been times where I've eaten at my favorite restaurants at Disney World. I go back and it's like, it's not as good.
It's amazing you mentioned that. So one of the places that we're looking at now is Le Cellier, which, I mean, for a long time was a very good restaurant in Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Its reader satisfaction surveys are not good right now, and so we're sort of investigating why. And I think I know what it is. They've basically simplified the menu and raised the prices. But in the next edition of the book, we're going to try and be more explicit about the rating. So right now we've got, for every restaurant in the book and on the website, we give it a number, the reader satisfaction number from 0% to 100%. And so like Le Cellier, for example, might be like 83 or 84% or whatever. And 83 or 84% might sound good. But the average for all Walt Disney World restaurants is like 88 or 89%. So in that context, it's much below average. And so we're going to try and put that into context the next go around when we update the book. Interesting.
Yeah.
Could it be that they got rid of the Scopa special? Is that the
Scopa? Exactly. There's a surprising number of restaurants that until recently were doing very, very well, and now the ratings have fallen dramatically. I'm working on a blog post now for one that I think will surprise everyone, but. I've also not coincidentally have 5 dining reservations this week.
Oh wow.
It's a tough week. I brought my stretchy pants. Telling you, man.
It's a research trip. That's all it is.
Exactly.
You gotta do it.
Well, speaking of the back of the book, you had mentioned the back of the book and the surveys that folks can do. You're actually you give out some touring plans that people can cut out of the back of the book.
Yep.
I would suggest laminating them so your sweaty, 112 degree Animal Kingdom day, But these are incredible tips.
Oh, thank you. By the way, if people want touring plans, you can just go to the website and create them for free and follow along on your phone. The big advantage to that, I definitely use the ones in the back of the book to prepare. But once you've become familiar with them, go to the website. Use the touring plan that you find in the book, put it on the website, and when you're actually in the parks, we'll update the touring plan as you're going throughout the day, based on what's actually happening in the parks. So one of the things that we've learned is that rides break down, it starts to rain, or large tour group gets in your way. Things happen when you're in the parks that a printed book can't anticipate, right? And when you think about the Magic Kingdom, where it's got 40 rides or whatever, the odds on all of them working perfectly throughout the entire day are almost zero, right? Just because it's mechanical and mechanical things happen. So if you follow along on the website or on the app with your touring plan, as you mark things off, we're constantly updating our estimates of what your wait times are going to be throughout the day, and we'll actually change the order of attractions that you visit based on what's happening throughout the day. So if a ride breaks down, we won't send you to it. We'll move it to later in the day, and we'll tell you when we think it's going to be back up. We'll tell you the best use of FastPass. We'll tell you what kind of FastPasses are available, and so on. It's on the app, but it's all free. So knock yourself out.
That's awesome.
There you go. I mean, what
did I tell you how we came up with the idea of updating the touring plans live as you were walking through the park? It's another Len and his daughter trip. So I'm taking Hannah on a trip to Walt Disney World, right? And she was young. She was super young, like maybe 6, 7. And we get on Peter Pan, and when we get on Peter Pan, Bob and Tim, she had 2 shoes. I counted.
Right.
We get off Peter Pan. She's lost a shoe. She's next to me. I don't know where it happened. She's lost a shoe. So we spend. I'm following like a paper touring plan at the time, and I realize, it takes like half an hour to find her another pair of shoes and get them fitted and make sure that they're comfortable. And so by the time it's all done, we've missed half an hour, and our printed touring plan basically we're off schedule now. So I had to sort of struggle to finish out the rest of the day. And I thought to myself, if the app had just had like a button, like a help me button or a redo button, we could have avoided all of this. So I went back home and asked the developers to add a redo button, and basically you push the button, it redoes your day from that point forward based on what's going on in the park, and then allows you to recover from things like that.
That is brilliant.
Wow.
That is fantastic.
I like to think that like the book and the website are basically Bob and I reacting to all the different ways we screwed up our Walt Disney World vacations. It's literally, it's really that's all the entire thing is. How do we make our own lives easier?
There you go, kids. All you kids out there, learn from your mistakes. That's
what it is, man.
It'll be fantastic. Yeah. But I mean, that's what we do as most of our listeners. They go a lot to Walt Disney World or Disneyland, and you learn from your mistakes, but you can't learn everything that you have in this book because there's more information in here than one person going. I don't care if you're going every day. You can't have all these tips.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
You're not going to run into the problems, the same problems. So.
Yeah, if a lot of things that we have might be like a 1 in 20 chance of happening or 1 in 50 chance of happening, but in case it does happen, it's nice to be prepared, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? I don't even have a Disney trip planned for next year. Not yet.
It's coming.
I've got, and Looper Nation knows about this. I've got college. I got to drop 2 kids off at college in different parts of the country, and it's going to be insane. But at any rate, I still get the book because it's just such a great reference, and there's nothing better than like coming up next month, January, February, when it's going to be just cold and miserable here in Northeast Ohio and the Northeast part of the country, cracking open the book and going, oh, I could do this right now. Look at the map. I could go right there. And all of the wonderful things that are in the book and touring plans. Tim and I will sit and every now and then we'll fire up touring plans just to see, what's going on at the parks today.
Yep, what the wait
time is at Space Mountain right now.
Yep, exactly. If I were there right now.
A surprising number of people do that. I think we should do like a screensaver, like
there
it shows you the map of Walt Disney World and what the wait times are.
I love it.
I think that's
that would be a great idea. So, and listen, folks, let's say you're not going to Walt Disney World and you're not planning on going to Walt Disney World for a while, you guys got the unofficial guide to Disneyland, the unofficial guide to Universal, Orlando, the unofficial guide to Disney Cruise Lines, of course, tied to the touring plans, the unofficial guide to Washington, D.C.
That was great to research. So Bob, the team, and I ended up visiting all the major museums, all the memorials, even all some of the minor things, to see what was going on in Washington, D.C. And we wrote about them as if they were theme park attractions. So I covered the Air and Space Museum as if it was a Disney ride, which was it was great. It was very, very fun. And part of what made it interesting was this: most of the museums, you walk in and they've got like a small plaque or a sign or a couple of words about whatever you're looking at in the context of the museum. So you're looking at a painting. So there might be a couple of paragraphs about the painter and the painting. But what we did for the book was sort of explain where it fits in the context of the entire history of whatever it is you're looking at. So we did an entire history of Impressionism, for example, and how it fit into the history of Western art since the year 1200. And then, or for like Air and Space, we actually went into the history of the actual planes that you see in the museum. So have I told you guys this?
No.
All right. So it's a great story. At Air and Space Museum on the second floor, they've got basically something that looks like a flying doorstop. It's a wedge. It's basically a triangular piece of metal bent up on the sides, and it's an airplane. It's the M2F3 lifting body, second floor of the Air and Space Museum, and there's a little sign where the viewing area is for it, saying that they did research, that this plane helped do research for the space shuttle. Because remember, the space shuttle basically flew like a brick, and its wings weren't there so much for lift as the entire body was shaped to lift. But I'm looking at the plane. I'm like, where have I seen this before? So I go back and do some research, and it turns out that the plane that they have at the Air and Space Museum is the exact plane that in real life crashed at the beginning of the $6 Million Man TV show.
Oh yes,
that's the actual. So the one that they have in NASA is the M2F3. It's actually the previous one is the M2F2. It crashed. They rebuilt it and they gave it to NASA for the Air and Space Museum. So I go through the entire research, right, and I had to do two things. I wrote to NASA and I said, can you verify that this is the history of the lifting of the airplane? And they're like, yeah, we can do it. I was like, okay. And I'm talking to the PR person from NASA, and before I even ask him, I send him an email saying, the next email that I send, you're going to have to respond with, we can either confirm or deny that. Okay? So I send him an email and I say, okay, we've established that the M2F3 is the airplane that crashes at the beginning of $6 Million Man. And the pilot actually lived, right? He lived through the crash. So my next question to NASA was, is he bionic? Right? Did you guys actually make him? And they wrote back and they said, we can either confirm or deny that. Thank you for your interest in it.
That is outstanding.
It was great. So the PR guy from the Air and Space Museum and I became fast friends after that. He told all kinds of stories about what happens behind the scenes. But that's an example of what we put in the book, right? Like here's something that you don't know about it, but yeah. And that was I was so happy when I found that. Yeah,
it's fantastic. My only question is, why can't I park next to the Jefferson Memorial anymore? What is the deal with that?
Right? You can't park next to anything anymore in D.C. First of all, you shouldn't be driving in D.C. You should be taking public transit.
Yeah,
right.
You have to.
Yeah. But but D.C. is a lot of fun. Great restaurants. The good thing about the museums, most of them are free.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the big thing that we did though, and this is another one of my favorite tips. Air and Space has its own sort of food court, and it's fine. But if you want the better food, the place you go is either the Native American Museum or African American history. Those have the two best cafeterias in any Smithsonian museum in Washington D.C. by a wide margin.
Really?
Oh my God, the best food in both of those. Yeah,
there you go.
Fantastic.
There you go. Are you going to put some sort of touring plans together for DC?
We covered in the book. We've done a couple of touring plans. Basically, it's one museum at a time, because you're not gonna go from museum to museum like you would go from like Adventureland to Tomorrowland in Disney. It's you basically here's the museum. Start here and go through it this way. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Great. That's fantastic. Yeah. And you also have the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World with kids. Yep. Beyond Disney, the Unofficial Guide to Universal Studios, SeaWorld, and the Best of Central Florida.
Yep.
What other than SeaWorld, Universal, and Busch Gardens is there in Central Florida that you guys cover?
It's Legoland. It's the Orlando Fun Spot. It's places like that that we cover. So Seth Kupersky does a really good job on covering that all of those things.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And of course the Mini Mickey pocket-sized Universal Guide to Walt Disney World.
Yep.
Invaluable for planning trips, helping your friends. We all help our friends plan vacations and touring plans. You can't live without it, especially now. You guys are going to have your hands full in fall of 2019.
Woo! I'm actually in line now for When Galaxies Are Joe, but I'm taking this call in line. Yeah, it's in. So no joke, I've actually got a set of 5-day rolling reservations at Boardwalk starting November 1st 2019 and going through the end of the year. And whenever Disney announces whatever the opening date is, I'll cancel all the other reservations and keep the ones that are around that.
Oh, very nice.
And the funny thing is like I've had conversations with people at Disney about like how are you guys going to handle the crowds? What are you going to do? And they're like, it's not going to be that bad.
What could happen?
Hold on. Going through a tunnel here. You know what it sounded like you said? Yeah. Like, we'll get to it. Yeah. No, the number of conversations I've had with people like, we'll figure it out next year.
Oh.
So I was telling them, I was like, well, and my original question was this, like, okay, I'm staying at the boardwalk. What are you going to do to constrain people from just walking up to the studio's entrance at 3:00 in the morning? And the initial response I got was, no one's going to do that.
Oh, geez.
Like, have you met your customers?
Right?
They will absolutely do that. And
Star
then,
Wars
I started.
fans alone, where people who have never been to Disney are going to be going.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars fans. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, if you let people camp out all night, they'll camp out all night.
Right.
And because think about what they're doing with what happened the first year that Flight of Passage was open at the Animal Kingdom. People were showing up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning for park opening at 9, just so they didn't have to wait in line. Like, what are the Star Wars people going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, we'll figure it out. Godspeed, John Glenn.
Exactly.
Godspeed.
They've got gondolas. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those. Actually, they got the wires up on them now, and they're testing them at night. They're testing pieces of them at night. Yeah, it's looking good. I still don't understand the lack of air conditioning in those. I don't know what that decision was about, but we'll see.
Well, we had a family member, the Von Roll, Robbie Von Roll, who was his family actually built the very first gondola in Switzerland, or
really,
I believe so. Yeah, he was on the show with us, and he says that the forced air that they're going to run through those things will actually work. They're running, non-air conditioned gondolas, Skyliners all over in tropical areas all over the world. So
yeah,
we'll see.
All right,
we'll see.
Okay.
Right.
I look at it, when they first said it's going to have air vents and air circulation, honestly, God, the first thing I thought of was like the Ron Pope oilless fryers that you see on TV.
Right.
Like, this is some sort of like rotisserie chicken thing. Is that how this is going to work? I'm not.
Everybody will be much tanner. It'll be nice.
Yeah.
It's so gradual you don't even notice it.
I'm super interested in it. By the way, speaking of new things, did you guys get reservations for the Gran Destino Tower when it opens July 9th?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
All right, I'm there July 9th. I actually got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to ensure that I have a reservation there. I'm super excited. But first of all, my question number one, is everyone calling it the Gran Torino Tower like
yes.
I am?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
First thing
they
I thought
should
of.
have Clint Eastwood cut the ribbon for that.
I agree. And then somebody else pointed out to me on Twitter that if you abbreviate it, it's actually the GD Tower, which I will now call it that from now on.
No. What were they thinking?
I'm not sure they were on that particular one, but it looks good. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. And going back to the humidity thing, the restaurant that they have now in the middle of the lake is either going to be genius or tragedy, depending on how humid. Because that's the thing you want, right? After a long day in the theme parks, you want to go home or go to a restaurant and be surrounded by water and heat, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Humidity. Yeah, that humidity is going to be brutal.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, as long as
it looks good. It
looks
good. Yeah, and at night, I'm sure it's going to be great, especially like in the fall and the spring. It's probably going to be lovely.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. Yeah, awesome. It is. I mean, and I was against it because I call it the behemoth because Coronado just looks so nice anyway. And then
it does, but here's the thing. I walked around it about a couple months ago now. But once they had topped off the tower, and I was trying to see how much of the tower intrudes on the sort of the visual landscape of the rest. And there are places in the Coronado Springs area where you can look directly towards the tower and not see anything. Really? Because of the landscaping and because of the way that they've lit up the buildings. Yeah, it's remarkably hidden if you're in Coronado Springs. Fully half the rooms you won't be able to see the tower at all. It's really, really good visual design. Yeah, super impressed with that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, good. That alleviates a lot of my concerns about the behemoth. Yeah. So we'll see. Well, I mean, we could talk to Len all night long, but we're going to let you go. And everybody, got to get out there, and you got to get the unofficial guide. Great Christmas presents coming up. It's a great last-minute thing. Touring plans, definitely. You guys can get that, if you forgot somebody and you're like, uh-oh, just give them a touring plan subscription. Fantastic. They'll love it. And Tim,
yes,
that is all I've got for Len.
Well, Len, thank you for joining us for HolidayThon, or Thong, depending on what you're wearing, 2018.
Awkward. I will remember this for next year and come dressed more comfortably. I appreciate it.
I'll take mine off as well. Hey, we're at Facebook, Twitter, the website, ResortLoop.com.
Like us on Facebook. Rate us on iTunes. Don't forget to check out our YouTube videos. And what else should folks do, Tim?
Everyone, please go out there and share the gateway to the magic.
See you, everybody.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoopTravelGroup.com.